Plants provide us with food to eat and oxygen to breathe. They perform this amazing feat by the process of photosynthesis. Let's take a closer look. Photosynthesis requires carbon dioxide, which diffuses into the leaf through small pores and then enters the cells. Inside the cell, carbon dioxide diffuses into the chloroplasts, where photosynthesis takes place. Chloroplasts use energy from light to transform carbon dioxide and water into sugar and oxygen. Zooming into a chloroplast, we see these flattened membranous sacs called thylakoids. Here, light energy is converted to chemical energy in the first phase of photosynthesis, the light reactions. The two green structures you see here are photosystems, large complexes of proteins and chlorophyll that capture light energy. An electron transport chain connects the two photosystems. Notice the small mobile electron carriers that shuttle electrons from one large complex to another. Now let's take a closer look at the steps of the light reactions. The photosystem on the left absorbs light energy, exciting electrons that enter the electron transport chain. Electrons are replaced with electrons stripped from water, creating oxygen as a byproduct. The energized electrons flow down the electron transport chain, releasing energy that is used to pump hydrogen ions, the blue balls, into the thylakoid. In the photosystem on the right, light energy excites electrons, and this time the electrons are captured by an electron carrier molecule, NADPH. The high concentration of hydrogen ions inside the thylakoid powers ATP synthase, producing ATPs. The light reactions in the thylakoid have produced two energy products, ATP and NADPH, that will now power the production of sugar in the Calvin cycle. The Calvin cycle takes place outside the thylakoids in the stroma, the thick fluid of the chloroplast. At the beginning of the cycle, carbon dioxide molecules combine with molecules called RUBP. The resulting molecules go through a series of reactions powered by ATP and NADPH from the light reactions. Sugar molecules known as G3Ps are produced. Most of the G3Ps are rearranged back into RUBPs that will begin the Calvin cycle again. But the important product of photosynthesis is the remaining G3P sugar. Some G3Ps are used to build glucose, which can combine into starch or cellulose. Still other G3Ps form sucrose. And some of the sugar is broken down by cellular respiration using oxygen in the plant's own mitochondria, generating ATPs that can power other work of the plant. Excess oxygen diffuses out of the leaf through the pores, while more carbon dioxide enters. With three simple ingredients, carbon dioxide, water, and light, plants produce sugar and oxygen by photosynthesis, powering plant metabolism and ultimately providing your fuel as well.
All right. I hope that was informative for you. So I chose to do activity 4.2.1 on photosynthesis this week because I've noticed in my grading in the last few weeks that a lot of my students are struggling on this specific assignment, and I don't think it's because of anything more than just having trouble with the graph and trying to interpret it. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you have any questions, please feel free to just unmute yourself and ask, or if you feel more comfortable talking in the chat box, that's fine too, but please let me know if you have any questions, okay? So let's get started going through this. All right, so this video right here, it says, watch the video below showing a simple demonstration of photosynthesis in action. What you are seeing is the cut stem of an aquatic plant called Alodia. Alodia is like an aquatic plant. You find it in like fish tanks a lot, okay? It has cytoplasmic streaming of its chloroplasts, so it looks really cool under a microscope. So we use it a lot in science classrooms. But it also, it shows chloroplasts really well. So we can find these in pond environments, and you can see the effect that a change in light intensity has on gas production. The number of bubbles formed in a given time period are a measure of the rate of photosynthesis. So basically what that's saying is the amount of bubbles that is going to be produced from this Elodia plant, which is right here, let's see how it is affected by the amount of light that it has. So I'm not going to play this whole thing, but I'm just going to show you. So do you see the bubbles going up right now? All right, now see, it goes darker. And what happens to my bubbles? Does anyone want to say anything? Are my bubbles increasing with the light or with the dark, or decreasing with the dark? And then when it gets light, what happens? See how that gas is going to increase? And it's still increasing because we have that light intensity. And then, oh, we got another participant. Welcome, Kanisha. Feel free to just answer questions as we go through. We're going through activity 4.2.1 in biology semester 1. And thanks for joining us. All right, and then see, it got dark again, and what happened? My bubbles are going to start decreasing, right? If happening at all. Oh, we lost her. That's okay. All right, so the question is, as you watch the video, answer the following 2 questions. What gas is being released? So in the video I just showed you, we talked a little bit more in depth about, okay, what is photosynthesis actually giving off? And really the 2 options here are either water or either carbon dioxide or oxygen. Does anybody know or want to say what they think it is? Which gas is being released from this Elodia plant during this process? Either carbon dioxide or water?
Carbon dioxide.
Okay, now, what makes you think that it's carbon dioxide? Anybody want to answer that? Well, let me ask this question. What do you guys think that we give off when we breathe? Like when you take a breath in and then you release air out, do you guys know what you're breathing out? Do you think you're breathing out carbon dioxide or oxygen?
Oxygen?
Okay, so you have it absolutely so close, just flipped. So plants, oh, we have somebody in the chat message, let's see. The energy from light, yes, it is energy going to be happening, okay? Plants do get their energy this way, but the actual gas that is going to be released is either going to be oxygen or carbon dioxide. Now, humans, animals, when we breathe out, I'm going to start my video so you guys can see me. Can you guys see me? Oh, we got another.
Yes.
Okay, great. Oh, all right. So when we breathe out oxygen or breathe out carbon dioxide, the plants actually take that in and they go through the process of photosynthesis and they release oxygen. And then we breathe in that oxygen. Okay, so plants always release oxygen. That's why we want to make sure we plant enough trees and we have enough photosynthesizing organisms to make oxygen for us. So the gas that's being released from this Elodia plant in particular is oxygen, okay? Now, what is the relationship between the light intensity and the gas production? This really answers the question that is the video is depicting. So what happened, like I asked before, when the light came up, like when we had a lot of light, what started happening?
The water increased.
The bubbles increased, right? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yes, so we got light and all of a sudden we started seeing all these bubbles, right? Okay, excellent job. Now, when it got dark, what did we see happen?
The bubbles decreased.
The bubbles decreased, right? So the relationship then between the amount of light and the amount of oxygen produced is, what can we conclude from that? Anybody have any ideas? Oh, we have a chat. Let's see. Oh, thank you for answering that. Okay, so if we get more light, we get more oxygen. And if you think about this from our everyday world, when we're in the summer and we have a lot of green plants, right? We have flowers blooming, etc. That's because we have longer days, longer periods of light. So we're gonna have more photosynthesis occurring, right? In the winter time, we don't have as much light, cooler temperatures, etc. So photosynthesis starts to slow down. And that's this beautiful time of the year when we start to see all these beautiful colors in our leaves because photosynthesis is not occurring as much. So the chlorophyll, which is the green pigment, starts to not being produced, and we get to see those other really pretty pigments that we love, which basically just means that photosynthesis is slowing down, and so we aren't going to see it as much throughout the winter. All right, let's go to the next one. It says, now check, this is the one that I really noticed that a lot of my students are having trouble with. So it says, just a second, I'm trying to move this over. Okay. Now check out the graph below. The rate of photosynthesis as determined by the oxygen bubbles produced is graphed versus the light intensity. The two variables are rate of photosynthesis and light intensity. So right here we have rate of photosynthesis, and this is how much light we are giving it. It says the rate of photosynthesis depends on the light intensity. So the rate is the dependent variable, and the light intensity is the independent variable. So independent variable is always going to be something that we manipulate, right? If we're manipulating the light intensity here, like we were in that Elodia plant, and then our dependent variable is always going to be our data point, what we can actually assume or get data from, whether it's quantitative or qualitative. Okay, so as our light intensity increased, what did we notice about our photosynthesis? Our rate of photosynthesis. Or to ask it more lightly, as we got more light, what happened to our amount of bubbles?
It increased.
It increased. So it says, how would you describe the relationship between the two variables? Same kind of question as we were just answering, right? The two variables are the light intensity and the gas production. So we can assume that as our light intensity increases, the rate of photosynthesis is also going to increase. But what do we notice right here about our data right here, our rate of photosynthesis? What is it going to start doing right here where my mouse is? Right, if this is like a scale of 0, 10, 15, 20 going up, are we going to steadily climb? Are we climbing? Or what are we starting to do?
Decrease.
Okay, let's see what someone says. It starts to settle, okay? Yes, so that means that the light intensity cannot be too much, right? Too much light is going to start to settle off. We're not going to continue to have just tons and tons and tons of oxygen production. At some point, it's going to level off, and it's going to find this like carrying capacity where it's like, okay, this is how much oxygen that this organism can actually give off. Okay, there's a certain rate that it can get to before it needs to just level off. Okay, so what happens as the light intensity increases? Initially, we can say it's what? Increasing, and then eventually we say it starts to level off. Does that make sense? Yes, okay. Now, so we would say something about as the light intensity increases, the rate of photosynthesis initially has this great growth and then it starts to level off. Okay, so good. 4.2.1, do we have a better understanding of this? Can I get a yes or a no or a thumbs up or thumbs down type of deal? Yes, no, maybe so. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, awesome. All right, now we're at the point in our session now where hopefully I can be of a resource to you. Do either of you have, or any of the three of you, or two of you, have any questions on anything in your earth science or biology courses that I can help you with? First, we'll ask Lulu. Lulu, do you have any questions for me that I can help you with in your coursework?
I actually don't have earth science or biology.
Oh, you don't? Okay. You're just here.
Yeah.
We're so glad you're here. That's great. I'm glad you listened. Hopefully you got something out of it.
Yes. I'm actually taking Great Minds in Science, quarter one.
Oh, perfect. Okay, that's great. So did you have any questions about anything in that course?
Well, I just started today, so not yet.
Okay, well, great. Well, thank you so much for listening in. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or to your teacher, and we're here to support you. So just let me know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, and then next, I may be butchering your name. I'm so sorry. Joanna, do you have any questions for me on anything? And what course are you in? And can I answer any questions?
I don't have any questions at the moment, but thank you.
No, no problem. Okay, so neither of you have any questions. What about you, Rachel? Do you have any questions for me about any of this? No? Maybe? Yes? Okay, great. Well, if we don't, oh, let's see. No, sorry, my computer got stuck. No problem. Okay, well, if nobody has any questions, then I think that's all I wanted to show you about the rate of photosynthesis with the light intensity. So if you have any questions that you think of when we get off, I know I always think of questions after I leave something. Feel free to email me or chat message me. And thank you so much for joining my live session. All right, bye.